Oh, what a time to be alive. Grab your popcorn and get ready for the next episode of Canadian Political Theatre. In today's thrilling installment, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre goes head-to-head against a CBC Lefty reporter trying to catch him in a game of gotcha, and in the middle of trying to do that, got absolutely obliterated once again. When will these reporters ever learn that going head-to-head against Pierre, trying to catch him, trying to catch a mistake on him, just ain't gonna work out good for you? So this reporter asked Pierre when he becomes prime minister, if and when, what is he going to do about the drug issue? And more specifically, is he going to shut down safe injection sites, which clearly sends Pierre over the edge over that term, safe injection sites. Check this out.
How can you possibly report on the story when you're already using government propaganda? It's not safe. Yes, that's the problem. You're using the term they're using. How can you? So you've decided, you've already made up your mind, you're going to report their statements as though they're true.
So Pierre's right. Safe injection sites aren't safe. You can make it sound as cushy and whooshy and good as you want. But if I were a lifeguard and I said, yeah, when you get to about 3 feet deep in the ocean, there's a cushy, cuddly shark. Don't worry about it. The risk isn't there. It's a cuddly shark. You're going to be fine. Would you go in the water? No. Because you know that shark is going to rip you to absolute shreds if it gets a hold of you. You can call it all you want. And this is the liberal propaganda of putting these weird cuddly names on things to make them sound better than they are.
My proposal is recovery and treatment. Am I going to give more money to these agencies that have caused the crisis? No. They're not going to get any more money. They've caused the mayhem.
Now, the reality is these safe injection sites are just going to breed more drug use. You're not solving the issue. These people have psychological problems. They need real help, real treatment, real rehab, and not just physically, mentally as well. There's something wrong in their fucking head. And if you're going to give them a different type of opiates, it's still a drug. Yeah, okay, maybe it's not as bad as dirty street heroin, but you're not solving the issue. They're just going to be a druggie forever. And look, I get the argument. The argument really is these people are messed up and they're going to do drugs regardless. Whether you help them or whether you don't help them, they're going to find drugs one way or another. And if they're left to go find drugs on their own on the street, they're going to be using dirty needles, so they're going to get hepatitis and AIDS and all these types of weird shit. They're going to overdose on drugs laced with fentanyl. And then the real end, because you're probably thinking, who cares? Well, then they're going to be using our resources, our taxpayer resources, when eventually they have to get hauled to the hospital in an ambulance, and we can't just let people die. It's just not how it goes. So they're going to get treatment. They're going to get surgeries. They're going to get emergency medicine. They're going to get detoxed, all at the taxpayer's expense, which is us. So the argument is, instead of having all of that money, which is going to cost way more in the end, why don't we just give them clean, safe needles, a nice warm place where they can get out of the rain and shoot up? At least we know we can watch them. I get it. I get the argument, but reality is there's a lot of unintended consequences to having them do that, which we'll talk about in a sec.
Have you been around, have you seen the tent cities?
I lived in this very neighborhood for 8 years.
Have you seen the tent cities? Okay, and you think that these agencies are doing a good job?
Now, I don't know about you, but these tent cities are popping up everywhere. I never used to see them. I'm from Kitchener-Waterloo, and whenever I'm driving downtown, anywhere, not even downtown, just through the suburbs to get to my house. Now, I'll just be straight up, and I don't want this to sound, oh, so posh. But, I've done well in my life. I'm a real estate investor. I've done a ton of deals. I live in a multi-million-dollar home. But on my way to my house, like 5 minutes away, you got tent cities and homeless people running around everywhere. This is something you just never would have thought of happen. And it's not even that. They're in every neighborhood now. Now, I don't know if it's truly because of high inflation, people can't afford rent and mortgages and food, so more people are just living on the street in tents. I honestly don't think it's that. Or if it's just these left-wing policies that are allowing so many homeless people to congregate in populated areas, like on busy street corners for everybody to see. I don't know. Maybe we're just in different times. I feel years ago, under the Stephen Harper era, before that, even with other liberal governments, you can't do that. You got to get out of here. Like, cops would get you out of here. Now they're just leaving them here. Everybody's too progressive. You can't touch anybody because they could sue you, and I don't want to push them out of here. I'll be on the front page of social media news. I don't want to do it. It's a gong show.
Issue, sir, but I will say that.
I'm asking you a question. Are you think they're doing a good job when you go to see the tent cities that are popping up everywhere in the country?
The community is doing the best job.
I agree with you on that, the community, but the agencies are different than the community. And again, you're repeating their talking points.
One of the things I love about Pierre is that he just takes control of the conversation and puts it back on the reporter and just talks to them like they're a bro, like they're a dude. Like, hey, you can't answer the simple question? Oh, I don't know. I'm just here to ask the questions. Like, what do you mean? Like, do you not have a brain? You can't answer a simple question I'm asking you? It just turns it around and makes them look like a complete fucking fool rather than giving into these reporters and playing their game, because all these reporters want to do is set up all these mousetraps and lead you right to them. These guys are geniuses at being cunts. They know exactly where they want to bring you. They're playing chess with you. But Pierre just fucking flips the whole chessboard and says, I ain't playing. You're playing my game. I love it.
I mean, there was a time when reporters believed their job was to hold government accountable, not regurgitate their talking points. And that's what you're doing when you say safe supply. It's heroin-grade opioids that they want to give out.
I mean, one of the main rights in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms here in Canada is freedom of the press. And why is that? Because the press are supposed to push against the government, supposed to ask the tough questions and make people feel uncomfortable. That's why we got to protect them. But if you're being funded by the government, aka the CBC, you're not going to bite the hand that feeds. You're never going to ask the tough questions. It's the same thing in the U.S. with Joe Biden. It's why Trump gets all the super hard questions, the intense questions, and Biden just gets all these softballs thrown at him. They're all getting paid by the government, so they're not going to mess with the one who's paying them. And that is fucking disgusting. That's a huge problem.
And it is being diverted to kids. It's not safe.
Okay, this right here is the worst part about all of these lefty, lenient policies of, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusivity, making sure everything is progressive, is that at the end of the day, the people that shouldn't be getting hurt are the unintended consequences that I always talk about on this channel from these shitty policies, whether it's financial, whether it's monetary policy, fiscal policy, here is drug policy. The wrong people are eventually going to end up getting hurt because you're too soft. And who are these people? Kids. Kids are going to get hold of these drugs. Why? These druggies are going to get all of these safe injection heroin, these safe approved drugs, and inevitably, they're going to end up selling them to the easiest target, which is kids, because they need money for food and Doritos and whatever else they're going to buy, booze. They're going to sell it to kids. And kids are dumb. We've all been teenagers, okay? When I was a teenager, I was a fucking idiot. Skateboarder, hanging out, smoking weed. Yeah. Dude, I was there. I wasn't doing heroin, but a lot of my friends were. A lot of my friends in my group did do all that shit. And how the hell's a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid getting a hold of heroin and fentanyl and all this bullshit, MDMA? It's going to get to the kids eventually, and that's the worst fucking part about all of this.
Since this policy was enacted, we have seen overdose rates more than double across Canada. And where these policies have been most enthusiastically embraced, like British Columbia, it's 400%. I don't understand how the media goes to the same agencies and public health bureaucrats who helped cause the crisis and calls them the experts, when in fact the results of their policies are plain for all eyes to see.
Again, because the Trudeau government funds these safe injection sites, funds the people who are supposed to audit him and investigate him. He hires all the bad guys opposing him, so they make him look good, so they never talk bad against them. That's why they use the terms safe injection sites. Trudeau is all part of it. It's all a nice little plan to make everything sound rosy and feel better than it really is. Right now sucks. Canada sucks. The economy sucks. People are fucking struggling. Oh, but it's fine. We don't have to lower interest rates that fast yet. Canadians are holding up relatively well. Relatively to what? This is the worst time in Canadian history.
There's 256 homeless encampments in Toronto now. 50 of them have opened up in 3 months alone. The 25% of Canadians are living in poverty. We've had 40,000 people die of drug overdoses. The approach that we're taking, that the NDP Liberals and the bureaucracies that they employ are taking, is only making things worse. I will be taking that money and giving it to treatment and recovery services, not more drugs. Frankly, these NDP Liberal bureaucrats and activists who have been sucking up all the money are responsible for the crisis.
So this is what it comes down to. Canadians are fucking done. They're done. We played the games. Like I always say, the past 10, 12 years have been the most liberal and progressive times in a long time. If you're on the left, you've been loving these past 12, 15 years. It's been great. The advancement on the rights of gay people, on trans, on all those, I don't want to get into them. You know what I'm talking about. All those issues. It's been great if you're on the left. You're getting your way. But now, times are tough. And I feel like Canadians that have been going along with it, even if they didn't agree with all the stuff I just mentioned, we're Canadians. We're tolerant. We're nice. We'll call you whatever you want. It's fine. I don't believe in your politics, but I'll call you whatever you want. It's cool. But now, when the economy's not doing well, we can barely afford food. We can barely take care of our kids. We're almost going to go bankrupt. It feels like every single fucking month. Can't make the mortgage payment. Can't make the rent payment. Now the games are fucking over. I'm not calling you Sally when you're not a Sally. Stop it. I'm not playing these fucking games. Because right now I had it up to fucking here. And that's how I feel Canadians are feeling about all this. The games are over. The stimulus pandemic time where we're all getting paid to stay at home and life was great and everybody was rich and everybody's house was appreciating fucking 100% every 2 months. That was a sick time, dude. That was pretty sick. Everybody was tolerant. Everybody was cool. It was a fucking giant party. But now, party's over, dude. And I think that's why we're seeing the pendulum, so I always talk about, is swinging back to the right, and it's swinging fucking hard. And I think it's going to keep swinging for the next 10 to 15 years. It's how the political pendulum works. We've been riding the left wave, like I said, for the past 12, 15 years. When Obama won, basically, it started then. That's when the world started getting really progressive, really quickly. Obviously, with the invention of technology, with social media, globalization, we can connect with people all around the world in a matter of seconds. Virtue signaling became a thing. Everybody wanted to be left and kind and humble. But now, like I said, the world is in a pretty bad place economically. And now the fucking games are over. Let me know what you think. What do you think about all this? What do you think about Pierre absolutely obliterating this reporter? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.